Hello, this is Lindsay with University City Public Library with my 3 on a Theme video for you today. This will be all about gardening. My first recommendation for you is an author by the name of Sharon Lovejoy. I've read several of Sharon's books so far and they are all just delightful. Sharon Lovejoy is a California resident who likes to focus on sustainable and organic gardening practices and also coming up with projects that children and adults can do together to foster a love of gardening. So her books about gardening come out through Workman Publishing. And I have here Trowel and Error, 700 Organic Remedies, Shortcuts and Tips for the Gardener. I can say as an adult without children that her ideas are just as entertaining and inspirational as they would be as if maybe I was a 7-year-old. So I don't think that the age is any limit here with Sharon Lovejoy's books. Her books are available in physical form through the library once we reopen, but for now you can access them right away through Hoopla. There are 4 ebooks available. My next recommendation is actually a book I haven't read yet, but it's by an author whose gardening books I have read and I've really enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to reading The Edible Garden by Alys Fowler. The Edible Garden, How to Have Your Garden and Eat It Too. So Alys Fowler writes, again, a lot about organic and sustainable gardening techniques, and also has a lot of great DIY projects that you can do to kind of up your gardening game. And I found it really helpful as someone who's come back to gardening over the past couple years after a long hiatus. In The Edible Garden, Fowler looks at different ways that plants sort of survive together, that gardening doesn't have to be just the straight row of a single vegetable, that a lot of plants have this sort of symbiotic relationship, and that you can use that knowledge to create your own creative gardening and create a garden that maybe looks a little bit closer to how these plants would grow in a more natural setting. So this is The Edible Garden, How to Have Your Garden and Eat It Too. It's through Riva Editions, and you can find it as an ebook on Hoopla right now. All right, my final recommendation is a recent favorite of mine. It is by Robin Wall Kimmerer, and it's called Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. Robin Wall Kimmerer is an enrolled citizen of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, and she's also a biologist. In this book, as the subtitle sort of alludes to, she looks at ways that different tribal nations across the North America have really used the local flora to their advantage, learning how to cultivate it in the best, most sustainable practices available to them, and then also looking at the stories that they have around different plants. She also incorporates a lot of her own biology training into it, so you get a lot of really awesome scientific factoids, and then again looping it back around to how indigenous cultures have known this for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and have used it to their advantage to create really diverse and sustainable ecosystems. Kimmerer also incorporates a lot of her own personal memoir as an Indigenous woman and as a woman in science into these essays. And this book inspired me last year to finally make a 3 sisters garden. So the 3 sisters are corn, beans, and squash, and it's a recurring tale through many different tribes. You'll find out more about it when you read this book, and I can't say enough about this. The audiobook is available on Hoopla for you to listen to right away, and that is the first way I experienced this book, so I cannot recommend that enough. Kimmerer reads the audiobook herself, and of course the physical book will be available once we open back up to the public. So thank you for joining me today for this 3 on a Theme video on gardening. I hope this spring finds your mood lifting a little. Bye-bye.